Hello, and welcome to today's edition of Mama's Got Style, how upgrading your look will elevate your business, get you high-paying clients, and increase the fun factor in your life. I'm Allan, your host, and today we are speaking with the awesome Bernadette Maven Dixon dancer. How are you?
I'm great. It's so good to be here. Thanks, Kara.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. So, thanks. What can you tell us about how you started your business and how dance has become this major piece of your life?
Well, how I started my business was certainly not with a plan to start a business, first of all. I always like to put that right out there because I did not make a plan and have this business come about. This business chose me.
Oh, nice.
I was healing through trauma and tried many things. And one of the things that worked for me, one of the many things, was live music. And when I would be on the dance floor. So I found myself affected, deeply affected, and able to find freedom in my body by listening to live drumming.
Oh, nice.
And I couldn't put my finger on it. What's this thing that was happening to me every time I go to the salsa club every Wednesday night in Newark, New Jersey, girl? I was at the club, but I couldn't figure out what this thing was happening for me and to me. And it was just gorgeous. But what it was finding freedom. And so after really looking at that and looking at how music affects the body, specifically drums, and always having dance in my life, I started to combine these two things. And I while it is movement and dance, I don't teach dance. What I do is I create spaces that allow people to come and have freedom of movement. So it's healing through movement.
Right. That is so awesome. I never thought about it from that way, but yeah, that makes so much sense because when the drums, it's almost like a tribal thing. You can't not move.
Listen,
your drums.
I often say my healing needed to happen on a primal level, and that's what I create. I create rooms and I direct people, of course, but where they can come and unleash. The last thing I want people to think about is as what I do as dance, because those who can't dance feel like it's not for them. And I'm not teaching dance. I am creating a free space to guide them through moving raw emotion.
Wow. Yeah, that's really a good point. Yeah. And a different way of thinking about it too. Because initially when I see you, you're like the one who's always moving, got the dance going or whatever. So you naturally associate you with dance in that way. Or but maybe it's more just movement, not necessarily dance, right?
Yeah, and while I've taken lots of dance training and there were things that you had to do and do right, and there was a specific way to do that, and that's wonderful. That's been really good, but there's not a lot of freedom in that.
True.
And what I like is to create a space, because I do feel that the moving is what's necessary, not necessarily how it looks.
Right.
I mean, we all want to look good,
right.
but what I promote in my Femme experiences and throughout workshops and bodies of work that I create is to let go of the mindset of needing to look good and to start to move what it feels like in your body. What does grief feel like? What does joy feel like? What does rage feel like? And to just move those things with abandon.
Right, because traditional dance is all about technique.
I don't care about technique. I don't care about technique. Exactly. I don't need little robots in there, and I don't need. The thing with dancers is they can make it look good. They can even make it look emotional. What I want are real people trying to heal and to feel better about having some freedom and breath around movement, as opposed to needing to get it right.
Right.
Because authentic movement looks good on everybody.
True.
We've all seen somebody having a real good time and they look crazy, but we can't take our eyes off them because they look like they're having some kind of freedom expression,
Exactly. And you want to join in or have some part of it because it's like, oh, this is so awesome. Like they're having the best time. They don't care if they look like a crazy person.
Exactly. And they're having the best fun in the room. They're having more fun than anybody else because they're able to go there.
Yeah.
And then a lot of folks say, they need a little support in getting that loose. Like, after a few drinks, maybe I can do that.
Yeah.
What I like to do, and the reason why I use drums in my work is because that becomes the elixir that allows you to have that freedom.
Wow. Yeah. That's a really awesome point. I love that.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
So what was your biggest, or what may still be your biggest challenge while you're building this business?
So one of the things that I think was and continues to be an issue is people don't value their healing, their need for healing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's a mindset of time and it being so limited. Mm-hmm. So what's happened is, as a society, there's the 1 hour. So if you're going to yoga, it's 1 hour. If you're going to Zumba, it's 1 hour. If you're going to hit the gym, it's 1 hour.
Right.
And so for Femme, a Femme experience is 90 minutes and it's 30 more minutes. However, it's been a big deal in renting space and sharing it with others because they don't value their time enough to have more. And so did I want to compromise it and do it in an hour, or do I want to hold to the 30 more minutes? And I valued the work enough that I didn't want to rush it.
Yeah.
And it's interestingly enough, one of the biggest challenges was creating a modality that was neither dance or therapy, but a combination of the two. Mm. And therefore, this 90-minute experience, that's the amount of time that it takes, because I'm not willing to shortchange my audience and shorten it. Mm-hmm. And I'm not willing to shortchange my work and shorten it. And so the mindset of people taking and giving themselves the gift of 90 minutes was an issue, has been. And I've made it work because I was pretty adamant and an advocate for healing, and wasn't willing to compromise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that raises an interesting point that everything is mostly in an hour. I mean, I think sometimes therapy sessions might be 90 minutes.
Absolutely. And we can look around and see people who might need a little more than an hour. I'm just saying, and yet I understand the concept, girl. Hey, I mean,
if you need it, you need it.
I can look in the mirror sometimes and see somebody who needs a little more than an hour. So, but the thought is, I think in today's society, and there's a lot of, there's just the rush, and what happens in that is there's no time for things to really sink in,
right?
And having to really make a stand for that. Mm-hmm. That's interesting. And those who do it actually love it. And so many people will just say to me, it didn't feel like a 90-minute experience, but that 1 hour mindset it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think once you're in, maybe it takes some people more time than others to kind of come out of wherever they're at. And that 90 minutes is going to help them, because if it's just an hour, by the time you're like maybe 20 minutes into, okay, I'm starting to loosen up, you only got 40 left. And then it's like, it runs by so fast then, and you're like, oh no. And then you would have another 30 minutes like that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Absolutely. It's really interesting. And because of that, there are reasons why I have adapted the class to really take care of those needs. For example, when a person steps in the room, drum is already playing, so that we take full advantage of all 90 minutes. I want them to step into a womb or step into this safe space. Yeah, they're not walking in and we're chattering and around, and all of a sudden, and then we get ready for class. I from the moment they walk in, they are walking into a safe sanctuary.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I really like that. Yeah, I enjoyed your class immensely, especially with walking around and hugging people. I think that really gets people related, and they're not just sort of standing around like, I don't know anybody. I'm not
and you don't know a lot of the people you're hugging, and I do that exercise because I do it for many reasons, but one of the reasons I always start that class with the statement, and which is true, and that it takes 4 hugs a day to survive, 8 hugs a day to maintain, and 12 hugs a day for growth. And it's not about getting 12 hugs. It's about opening yourself up to the possibility of connecting with another person.
Right.
To see what that feels like, because that's what produces hormones that flood our bodies with healing powers. And it's that connection, and we all need it. And those who resist it most need it most.
Yes. It's funny, when I was young, my parents weren't big huggers, but my grandmother was. And so I wasn't used to it. And whenever she would like come, and I kind of would like, and then I just she wasn't put off by it. She was just like, nope. And then I just relented into it. And that changed who I was as far as hugging people and always hugging my children when they were young. And even now, like, I know they even need it more now when they're older, is like, you don't hug me anymore. Let's get a hug in there, whatever. And that it is just that point of human connection and human touch.
Yes.
People need it. They're starving for it. That's why they're going out having like one night stands, just to be in the, touching somebody, even if it's like not somebody they love or know or whatever. They need that.
I mean, it's so evident. And I just create that safe space where people can do this. And I realize that it's uncomfortable and a little difficult, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I also hear at the end of class, when we're digesting it, how many people have said to me, I don't know the last time I was hugged, or it was very uncomfortable to allow someone to hug me. And I realized that was my own stuff, like that was my own vulnerability and edge. But the positive so outweighs the negative that it's just amazing. So
awesome thing what a hug can do.
It really is. Yeah, we all need it. I need one.
Yeah, I know. I'm making me think like, man, maybe that's why I've been a little grouchy lately. I haven't had enough.
Absolutely need somebody to hold you. We're all so busy trying to be strong and and to just keep putting one foot in front of the other, but it's self-care.
Yes, that's so true. Oh my gosh. So speaking of self-care, you have the most amazing like style that comes off like I'm a badass, but I'm still feminine. Like I'm not like this hard person. You totally embody a feminine woman in the way that you dress. So how do you think style supports a woman in her confidence and in her self-worth?
Oh girl, I think style is everything. I really do. And thank you for that compliment coming from you, girl. I really think style supports one's confidence. It certainly does mine. I feel better when I am presenting and I feel comfortable in what I'm wearing.
Right.
I mentioned earlier, we all want to look good, and there's nothing, and whatever that good is only matters to us personally at the end of the day. But there are things that I like. I mean, I love my leather. I'm always in black. I wear some color, but generally speaking, I'm in black.
Yeah.
And it just feels good to me. But it's also important that it not only that it's my style, it needs to be something that I feel fierce in, because because I am,
True.
I am, and that's very much me. And I'm also, a woman with curves, and I love that too. And there doesn't need to be a compromise. I'm not a lace and feather kind of girl. I'm much rather a little leather and some chains, but
I know.
but, but, but make no mistake, this is all woman here. Even without the hair, I just got a glimpse of myself. I remember when I made the decision to cut my hair many years ago. My grandmother was so upset with me because, yeah, she was old school, and women do this. And I was divorced at the time. And I'll never forget, she said, how are you going to look like a man how are you going to get a man if you look like one? And I just thought, oh man, that hurt my feelings. But Edith wasn't trying to hurt your feelings. She was just speaking her truth.
Right.
But what I started to notice is the quality of who I attracted changed.
Yeah.
And that was very interesting. So I think putting forth your style and whatever that is, I personally, it made me show up more clear of who I am. Yeah. And a lot of that had to do with style and my choice of not having the hair and, the reasons for that. For me, it was, I didn't like the fact that I spent so many hours a day worrying about some hair.
Right.
I mean, it really became a thing. And I just thought, I wondered what it would be like to not have it. And then I started to notice really beautiful women who didn't have hair, lots of hair. And I thought I'd try it. And I loved it from the moment I did it. And what I loved was that I could see more of me, who I really genuinely was.
Right.
I don't suggest other people go cutting their hair off. But for me, it was a beautiful choice. And it's been almost 20 years now.
Wow. Yeah.
And I'm good. I'm good.
I'm with you on that. And I probably like 5 years ago. And it was like this whole thing to go into it because so when I was studying with my mentor about style and everything, she brought in her hairstylist, and she said, what I would do with your hair is literally chop it off. It would be like a Halle Berry. And I was like, whoa. Oh, what? And so then I kind of eased into it. I did a bob at first, but then it was just like, no, that's not really good. And then I was like talking to people who had short hair and then asking other people, what do you think about cutting my hair? And everybody was like, yeah, I think you do good. You got a little good shaped head and whatever. Right. So when I cut it, it was just like freedom, because not all of that nonsense about, oh, a woman's hair is her crowning glory. And you don't have hair. But really, it's so honest. You can't hide nothing in here. Like, it is what it is.
I love that word, that it's honest. That's, for me, was so necessary. I was coming from a place where I needed to know who I was.
Yeah.
And just a real brief background. I was married at 17. I was, grew up in a very restricted religion.
I got you.
With family. And so I was about 27 when I'm just coming out of this marriage and this religion that really encompassed all of my life. All my friends and all were part of it. So coming away from all of that, I didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
And it was in this metamorphosis because I knew that wasn't for me, that marriage wasn't for me, this religion was too restricting for me. And I was in it really because it worked for family and my ex-husband. And as I started to find out who I was, I needed to be honest with me. And it was somewhere in there that I decided to cut my hair, but just for a trial, really. I shortened. And then I was like, I don't like these short styles. These were worse than the long hair. It was so much work. And I decided I don't want to do it. And I took it off and I just felt very bare, raw, honest, clear. And that was a beautiful place to create from.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, like you said, the quality of people changes. Like, there were so many men that were so attracted to the fact that I had short hair. Like, that it would have been, I don't know if they would have been before with the long, but they definitely were almost like totally engaged with it. Like, wow, and I was just like, wow, they're really fascinated about it.
Absolutely. And what I also found out for me was there were people who really wanted to know more about me. It was less about
how your hair
The
and
physical attraction was there, but it wasn't like that was all there was, because they were of more substance.
right. Exactly.
So it was definitely a more quality experience since then.
Oh, I love that. Well, I'm glad that you're in the short hair club too.
Yeah, I am.
So how do you think or suggest a woman should go about finding her style or developing it or whatever?
I think, I think we're attracted to things that we see. And certainly I found myself, just the notion of considering hair, for example. I
Yeah.
can recall sitting on a bus in New York City, and a woman got on, and I watched her because she was so regal.
Hmm.
And yes, her hair was short. It was very short. And I started to notice just the way her bone structure, the way she sat, the elegance and the royalty in which she sat in. And something about that resonated for me.
Yeah.
And I started to think of what it was like to try that on. How, to really try on the possibility of that.
Yeah.
And so and sometime later, I ended up, doing it. Not to listen to what other people say, because there were folks who, because of their own personal fears, were really against the idea of cutting my hair off.
Yeah.
I didn't need their opinions.
Right.
So what I would suggest in terms of style for others is to really spend some time alone thinking about what feels good to you, because flipping through magazines and things like that, that's going to let you know what's popular now, and that changes in 6 months.
True.
3 months, I suppose. But honestly, what matters most, what feels really good, for me, it's texture. I love things to be a particular softness or richness. That matters to me. Something that makes me feel radiant. All the core values of me, that is radiant, that it is regal, that it is, there's an elegance to it. And damn it, that I feel sexy in it, At the end of the day, yeah.
Yeah. And the way you show up, I mean, just to give everybody a little context, Bernadette and I are I can't say fellow, but sister goddesses together in Mama Gina's school, the Womanly Arts. And literally, whenever Bernadette shows up on the stage, it's like, I feel the ripple go through the audience, almost like, wow, damn, like this whole energy sort of shifts when you show up, because it's like, a lot of women don't necessarily know how to own their femininity and their sexuality, and not have it come off being, what people would call slutty or blah, blah, blah.
Absolutely.
But it comes off very, like you said, regal, and like it's something to behold. Like you just can't, people don't take their eyes off you when you're up there. It's really cool.
I think it's really interesting. Thank you so much for that frame. And I think what happens, because I get asked about that, these are big stages we're talking about, and lots of people out there. And all I can think to describe it as is, it took much time for me to get okay with me.
Yeah.
And I think for a long time, I was very uncomfortable with myself, and trying to make me a ballerina or something. And that's crazy, because I'm not, just what I mean by that is that very soft, feminine.
Yeah.
And that just didn't speak to me.
Yeah.
And I found something wrong with it somehow. I'll wear dresses, I'll do this, and I do wear dresses, and that's fine. But the point is, when I got to a point where I was really okay with me, there's something so unapologetic about it.
Yep.
But it's not unapologetic with the big, fuck you. It's a soft one, because there's nothing to prove.
Yeah, exactly.
So you come into some balance, really nice balance, and I think that is what's not modeled often.
Right.
It can be the hard, this is just me. But that's not really comfortable with who you are. That's taking a stand.
Not fighting either. Like,
you're not fighting. There's nobody to fight about this. And then there's, I'm not comfortable with me. But then when you come into a balance, and it's like, oh, this is just me. There's something really beautifully confident about it. And it also sends an invitation to other women. Yeah. Find your unapologetic balance for you.
Right. That's literally how it shows up. You like walk into the space and you command it, but not in like a pay attention to me kind of thing. It's almost just like, no, I'm here, and I'm here actually to help you. I'm here to serve you and have you come into and play with me in this invitation, like you said, to just own your own stuff, whatever that is. Be, like your femininity is not harsh at all, but it's still like a don't fuck with me either.
There's some of that
at the same time, but in a nice way, but still with the boundary of like, I work cool until you go there.
Right. Don't go there. But
which is good, so people understand where they're at right from the beginning. You don't even have to deal with it. It's like, oh, okay, I got it. We good. Mm-hmm. I can enjoy you, you can enjoy me, and we can move on.
And I love that. I think that's it. I think I'm happy to be able to model that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just awesome. I wish somehow we could take video of you the next time you do that. Like literally you walk in there and then you're just like, it's just something. It's like watching like a jaguar, like just sort of slink in and like be like, like it's just freaking awesome.
Leather vest.
Yeah, like the last entrance, the Femme one, that was so insane. Like you literally, I don't know if you got to see it, but it's
I saw a peek of it.
Oh my God, that was just like the best thing ever. Like that pays for the price of admission, right? Honestly,
that was hot. I love those entrances there.
So beautiful to see women just owning themselves and not be sorry about their size, their this, their that, but loving themselves, and then it gives other people permission to do the same.
I'm so glad you just said that, because it's not about size, it's not about age, it's not about race, none of that. It's about seeing
the beauty of a person.
Love seeing confidence.
Yeah.
And when you're so full and confident, it kind of overflows where all you see is the beauty and confidence in others. Yeah. Or want to see more and invite that in.
And it just makes you sort of want to love on everybody. Like that's the best thing about being in that space, is that it's just so good to be around women who genuinely love you and they're happy to see you and you them. And then just ones who aren't there yet, giving them that invitation to come along and join that party too. Like it's such an amazing thing to behold, literally.
And into your work, how interesting it is that as people come into that, how their style starts to really mold and meld right into whatever they're becoming.
Evolves, right? And then it just shows up on them. Like the glow, all of this shows up too at first almost, but then as they start dressing themselves, as they come into that, it's just like, wow.
Yeah, something happened here.
Literally, you walk in the room and everybody.
Yeah.
Who's that girl? What's going on over there?
It permeates everything you do. Style permeates everything you do. I don't think of style necessarily always as a physical article of clothing or shade of lipstick that you put on. I think your style, you wake up with that. Yeah. And then everything else starts to fall into place to accentuate that.
Yeah. I was talking with my PR lady earlier, and she was saying, she was trying to pull some stuff out of me, because it's like, it comes out, but it is like, sometimes sort of drips more than it oozes. But so anyway, I was saying how style isn't just about what you wear. It's about where you've been, the food you like, the music you listen to, the colors you like, the movies you love, the stories, the books, all of that stuff is like a big conglomerate of the person that you are. And your style is just an expression of all of that.
Absolutely. I so love that. That's so good. There was a time when I used to think of my favorite color and what that color was. And it was kind of like something I liked, but not something I really understood.
Yeah.
Over the years, I now say orange is my favorite color. It's the happy color. It's the color of life. It's the color of like becoming and joy. I always wear something that has some orange in it somewhere because I just need that. I like what it represents, and I like the way it makes my heart feel. And so I always need that thing, and to wake up with that feeling of curiosity and what's to come. To me, that feels orange. And then whether I wear it or not, you know, I don't know. But you know, I got 3 beads on, you know, that might do for me. But you know, I'm in my black.
Well, as long as it's that, like, it doesn't have to be total. Like, my dress has a lot of orange in it per se.
I
But
love it. And I love it.
My favorite color. Like, I love a lot of colors, but purple and red and yellow are probably my top 3. Orange is also another one because I do think I look pretty good in it. But
you look good in it. Yeah.
but it's just an expression of me. Like, purple is like royalty and part of I think it even has something to do with God in some
It's Sicilian.
yeah, so and then red is like love and passion, and it can also be fieriness.
Exactly.
So, and I can be all of that in any given moment, you know, depending on what's going on. And then the yellow is happy, like it's sunshine. It's like everything, like, you know.
Yeah.
So,
and while I wear a lot of black, you know, I've heard people say, "Oh, I don't want to wear black because I don't feel sad." Well, I'm never wearing black.
Sad and you're black.
I'm like, I feel elegant. I feel sexy. I feel sultry. I feel badass.
Right.
I feel that, and you know, and yes, I might wear black to a funeral, but
you don't ever look like you're going to no damn funeral. Let's just say.
No, it's just what works for me. Seriously,
Everybody has their thing.
Yes.
As you become a little bit more evolved in that thought process, because you're the best resource for you. You've been with you your whole life, right? So it's somebody's job like me to ask you the right questions to bring it out, because almost implicitly you know, but you don't know that you know. So it's like I go, okay, I understand why you like that because that represents this, or this is why you do that. And so when you're telling me this stuff, then it makes more sense. That makes sense to me. And then you're like, oh, that's why I always gravitate towards X, Y, and Z.
Sure.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes. And I mean, I hear things like it's, you know, it's a slimming color and it's a this, but for me, it's not those things as much as it is. It doesn't feel, it never feels like uniform or something like that, because I do find it's important to have style in it. Right. Yeah.
And black, it can be slimming, but not necessarily. It depends on how the cut. It depends on the fabric. It depends on the person, the body style, all those things. Yeah. That's just the conception. Oh yeah, black makes you look smaller. Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, huh? Yeah, you would know that.
I've seen some black of people that made them look real wide. You know, didn't have, you know, but whatever. It is what it is. Yeah. Let's not get off on that train. But, so what are your 5 go-to items in your daily style routine?
I would say first, comfort. Mm-hmm. I need to feel comfortable in whatever I'm wearing. Right. I have a habit of, I've never been a huge planner. So some people who are really good at planning, I'm a mood dresser. So I don't know what I'm going to wear tomorrow. Yeah. Because I haven't woken up tomorrow yet. Right. So for me, it does matter to dress for how I'm feeling. Yeah. In addition to comfort, I may have some ideas laid out and hope that I can grab one of those, but I do trust what feels good to me based on how I'm feeling. Okay. And whatever sexy is, something. And some days that's way more than others, what that is, but there needs to be some sense of glam. I like that. Mm-hmm. I need a pop of lipstick, whether it's some gloss or red lips or you know, just however I'm feeling in that moment. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of Pat McGrath because she shimmers me up really nice. I like her brand.
That red always looks great on you. Speaking of that, the red lipstick.
Thank you. I switched it up today, but you know, sometimes I do. And you know, for me, it's always going to be black. Just go for it. And it's safe, it's easy, hot, sexy, and sultry.
And you look fantastic in it, I just have to say.
And I think really just finding whatever that true thing is. And like I said, that mood dressing, to me it matters because it's got to be how I feel this day. Otherwise it starts to feel like a uniform and not necessarily true to who I am in that moment.
That's great advice, for sure. So how has your style evolved over time?
Oh, girl. Okay. So 25 years ago, I might have been knocking on your door offering a Watchtower and Awake magazine. I have pictures of me with bows, like high neck things with bows and dresses at that really weird length somewhere between the knee and the...
My.
I
can't even imagine you another like that.
Girl, that was another lifetime. And it wasn't necessarily my style, but I didn't have a style.
Right.
I generally did, I just sort of fit into where I was. So at that time I was, I was abiding by what was the constraints of a particular religion and how that affected style.
Right.
There was no style. After that, that was in my late 20s, as I started to come away from that, I found myself really at a loss. Yeah. And so I became very trendy. Mm-hmm. What's available, what to wear when, that kind of stuff, following magazines and things like that, because I didn't really have a sense of style. Mm-hmm. And I got pretty bored with that as I started to, and it just took a while, and but after a while, I started to notice there were things that I liked. There were textures that I liked. Yeah. I liked really soft things next to my skin. Things that itch or irritate had to go away. So things like Angora, things that just didn't work for me. Mm-hmm. And then to pull in more of the textures that I liked. And I think what style, then I went through a phase where I just thought style meant spending a lot of money. That was crazy because I didn't have a lot of money, but I was spending a lot of money. So I needed to spend a lot of money to look good. And that just got me in a whole bunch of debt. And then I realized, okay, that's not necessary. But these were all learning processes and very expensive ones in some cases. But then I started to appreciate the fact that I didn't need to be in really, really high-end stores all the time to get what I liked, that those stores had outlets.
Right.
Okay. And that there were, as I started to understand my style, I could now then shop all over the place.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because I was able to look for deals and find things and to go and to, people will say, well, where do you shop? I shop everywhere. Mm-hmm. I shop everywhere. And I shop less.
Right.
I am fine wearing something that feels really good to me a lot. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay if someone has seen it before because my ego is not tied up in this. I look good then and I look good now wearing it.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. Because we have this thing about looking good, avoiding looking bad, right?
And then looking good means not repeating and this, that, and the other. And I think some of that is, there's a lot of ego caught up in that. Mm-hmm. And I want personally to feel good, and that does not mean worrying about how I'm going to pay for something.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's okay if somehow I can switch something up and what have you, but I don't need to consume a whole lot. I need to consume more wisely.
Yeah, that's great advice too, because we're, America's all about consumerism.
Oh yeah. I've donated a lot of wasted efforts that way, and it's in finding my style, I actually find I spend less.
Yeah, because you know exactly what looks good on you, so that you don't make expensive mistakes anymore. Maybe once in a while you pick up something.
Oh yeah.
But then, okay, now if we're really honest about it, and look at it. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other day, it was just like, no.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's okay, It's like I try to do that at places where they do let you return them. I mean,
Yes.
I like
Oh,
wait and return it. But I like it looked okay in the store, and then when I got home and tried it on again, I was just like, what
insane.
light was I looking at?
Exactly. Yeah. You need to be able to take that back and not feel bad about it. Yeah.
Right.
Just, this is gonna work. Yeah.
It didn't work. Okay. So what do you do for fun? I know your whole life is built on fun in a way, but what do you do outside of having these awesome femme classes and traveling?
Oh gosh, I play with Samson, my boxer. He's yummy. That's my sweet boy. I spend time with girls. I got girlfriends, and I love to laugh a lot. I love to have in-depth conversations. I love to travel. My girlfriend Kate and I just came back from Kauai, and I love it there.
Yeah.
So I love to get on the road any chance I can get. I have no problems getting on a plane and going somewhere somewhere warm, somewhere that feels really good. Reading a lot these days, and just like, I don't know, I love quiet time. I'm probably like, I love company of me. So so I really like me time. So that's definitely something I carve out space for, because it's needed.
That's so true. Getting away from the hustle and bustle of things and just having a quiet moment is definitely.
Yeah, I have to fight for it sometime, but I'm going to win that fight.
I know, that's right.
I'm going to win that one. Yeah, it's so needed.
Oh my
God. I love to play with my grandkids. Oh my God, Jaden, I have a 14-year-old grandson who is amazing, and Ace and Ross are 5-year-old twins, and nothing makes me happier than to chase them around. So,
oh my gosh, that's so cute. Yeah, we were talking about I have an almost 2-year-old now, and one on the way.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, I tell my daughter sometimes, if I'd known being a grandparent was so much fun, I would have skipped motherhood. Like, I'm all about the grandparenthood.
Well, I think, but that's how you learn to be a great grandparent was with the kids, right? And we're grandmas. We're not grandmothers.
Yes, girl. Like, I make this look good. You do too.
Nobody would look at us and think that we were grandmas.
No, they wouldn't. But yeah, that happens. And we are.
Yeah, and it's just, hey, it's okay. It's all good.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. This is how it's being served up right now.
Pretty much. We can't make them take them back.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. And we would fight for that.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I don't know what I would do without that little guy. He's just everything. Like, it's amazing.
Exactly, and there's such a joy in seeing my daughter and son-in-law parent these boys. They're such amazing parents. There's a joy that comes in that. It's just
for sure. Yeah, so true. So any advice to the ladies and maybe some men out there that are raising kids and building a business, and how you really present yourself while you're doing all of that? Any last minute advice?
I think being honest, sharing about it. I think it's, don't feel like you always have to put forth like a perfect picture.
Yeah.
Let them see the struggle and how hard this is. I think about my daughter when she was graduating high school. At the time, I owned a bridal salon in Manhattan, and she saw the hard work that went into it. She saw all the hard work, the behind the scenes stuff. And she, in her graduating class, they went from student to student asking, what do you want to be? And it was, I want to own my own business. I want to own my own business. And they got to her and she said, I want to work for somebody else. Because she would see the hours, the time, the struggle. And I'm grateful that she knows and knew that you can choose to have your own, but there's a lot of work that goes into that. So I think it's important to not always show the glam, but to also show the realities that are there. I'm all about being real. It doesn't mean that I would trade this for anything else in the world. I love working for myself, and it's hard. So I think it's really, I think the best advice is to keep it honest, keep it 100, share with folks what all the realities are the good and the bad, the celebrations and the opportunities. I won't call them failures because they are opportunities for growth. I'm really reaching here sometimes.
So true. Yeah. Because people think it's, they only see the glam of it. They don't see all the hard work and everything that goes into it. And the struggle.
They don't get to see that. And, I was doing a little bit of research on a talk that I'm going to give soon. And I was, it was talking about the light bulb.
Yeah.
Einstein had 1,000 there were 1,000 attempts that the bulb didn't work.
Right.
And someone asked him, what was it like to have failed 1,000 times? And he said, I didn't fail 1,000 times. There were 1,000 attempts before it worked.
Right.
And I just love that whole reframe, because what he's saying is that don't look at it as failures. These are all in the making of what you're creating.
Right.
And to keep going and to learn from every single lesson. So I think what I would love to share is that you just need to keep going. And there's your kitty. And there will be failures. And what did you learn from it? And that's it. That's it.
That's great advice.
To fail forward.
Yeah. And somebody else said fail early and something. I forgot what it was, but like to get it out the way. So that way there's all this fear around the failure that, oh my God, you're going to be a failure. It's not about you. You're not a failure. That what the effort or that the attempt failed, not you.
Yes. And then it gives you a chance to restructure, regroup, or give up. But I say just stay in the game and stay in the game. Stay committed. Yeah.
Right. That's really good advice. So do you have any events or anything coming up that you want to share with everybody? I know you have Femme classes, so share where people can find that. And have I know you did something last year in August in the Bahamas or Jamaica?
Jamaica, yeah. Once a year we do a retreat. This year we're not sure when we're going to do that. We're playing with some ideas. So, but
keep talking. I got to plug the computer up. Sorry. Sure. I don't want to cut off on you. No
worries. Livefemme.com, LIVEFEMME.com is where you can follow and take a look at the shop and see what offerings are there. I offer a Femme experience once a month. I take it on the road, and we have a Femme immersion and teacher training, and those are for people who want to teach or those who are just curious into doing a deep dive into this work. And that's coming up in May in upstate New York. And I just, I love sharing this work with people and traveling and offering it in different cities and states. So it'll all be available, all the information on our Instagram, Facebook, and website.
Yes. And I highly recommend taking a Femme class. It was just amazing, and you got so much more out of it than what you thought. Like you thought, oh yeah, this is cool, it's going to be a nice like dance or movement experience or something, but the fact that you add in the hugs and then just like that really deepened the whole experience, because I think we talked about we both did Landmark before, so in the advanced class, one of the things I guess that Regina implemented into Mastery was that whole being with the person exercise. And so that kind of reminded me of that, but even deeper, because you're like embracing somebody, whereas the other one is just either standing in front of somebody or like touching their hand, but so you got the energy there, but the actual embrace of another person that you don't know. Yeah. It's just like, that's so crazy. Like we really need to have that everywhere. You know what I mean?
Everywhere. It seems a little daunting, and yet I think I do a really beautiful job of guiding people through it so that they can bring their whatever discomfort they may have in it.
Yeah. Yeah, because just, just touch is so needed. And I think that's why people are so grumpy and this, that, they don't even realize it because
I mean, you can go a whole week just texting and
Mhm.
emailing and what have you, and you have not really connected with anyone.
Exactly.
Or longer. I said a week, but I think proof positive that there's a need for connection.
Yeah, definitely. It's so a part of who we are as humans to connect with
Yeah,
another person. So
yeah.
so amazing. This has been so awesome. So is there anything else you want to share before we conclude?
I just want to thank you for this time. It's just been really good thinking about style and how it permeates everything we do. I adore you and the work you're doing in the world, and it's just so good to come and share with you here.
Yeah, I've met so many awesome women, and you are one of my favorites for sure in the whole goddess space because I think we have a lot in common, and there's a
Yeah,
lot of synergy there. So I
yeah,
think that it's just always good to have like fellowship in a way with someone who you can relate to, and even like kind of bounce things off of each other to
yeah.
take each other higher, as Regina always says.
Absolutely. It's all about that.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. Well, thanks so much. It
Thank
was an
you.
absolute pleasure. And of course, I will see you this
Yeah,
weekend.
you will. I'm looking forward to it.
So exciting. Yes. So thank you so much again.
You. Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.